A very interesting case. Today I get an opportunity to clearly once again define what is and what is not rape. Bombay High Court Justice Anant Badar questioned the version of a woman who complained of a rape incident. She claims that a man at 8 a.m. in the morning stopped his car, got out of his car, gagged her mouth with a handkerchief or whatever, put her inside the car, drove her to the hotel, booked a room and raped her or had sexual intercourse against her consent. Thankfully, the judge questioned this entire version. Unfortunately, a sessions court earlier had held him guilty of rape and sentenced him to 7 years in jail. It is shocking that this version, if this be true and if this is what has to be believed, was considered to be rape. Another shocking aspect of this case is the incident happened on June 11, 2014, and the lady complained about it nearly 11 months later, nearly 1 year later, in the month of May 2015. And all along she claimed that it was 8 in the morning, he stopped the car, pulled her into the car, shut her mouth, her hands were free apparently, took her to a hotel, sexually assaulted her, had intercourse against her will. Now, suffice it to say that the police officer who investigated, the investigating officer, should have applied his mind the way the Bombay High Court did right now. The police officer was within his rights to examine the veracity of the claim and set the man free. He could have investigated and given a clean sheet to the man. Apparently he did not. Shockingly enough, a court also found him guilty, and thankfully the Bombay High Court has now released him on bail. Now here the victim is not the girl, the victim is the man. It is impossible that this story can be believed by anybody. Her hands were free. She was taken to a hotel. She must have been standing at the reception. She could have broken free any time. First of all, it's nearly impossible to keep a lady's hands free and push her into the car without any resistance from her. In fact, why no resistance may seem to be a very cruel question, but the right question to ask. If this was really a rape incident, why did this lady not resist at all along? And secondly, why did this lady choose to wait for 11 months and then cry wolf? Incidentally, the lawyer for the defendant, the lawyer for the man, did not refute sexual contact related allegations. He denied rape. So the understanding here is the sexual act was consensual, was with her consent, was consensual, and then for whatever reason after 11 months she cried rape. An excellent judgment. For those who are law students, for lawyers, I scroll down here. What is relevant here? There is something called a question of fact. There is something called a question of law. These are two different things. A fine example by attorney Cliff Gilley, a Juris Doctor from University of Seattle. We'll scroll down now. What is a question of fact? What is a question of law? I will not bore regular viewers with this, but a question of fact is something that can be investigated by a police officer, whether something really happened or not. No law degree is required for this. Whether a fact is true or not, or could have actually taken place or not, is a question of fact. A question of law is brought into force only when all the facts are clearly established. Necessary elements will scroll down here for those of my brother and sister lawyers who wish to revise this important aspect of law. Thank you for watching me. Subscribe.